Good morning, dear students. I am Rajesh and you are watching your favorite YouTube channel Learning with Rajesh. In 7th class history, we started lesson number 1. The name of the lesson is Traces Through the Changes in a Thousand Years. And in a previous video, we learned about some major changes in at that time. And at the beginning of lesson, we started and we learned that there is a change in the map of India also. And after that, we learned about the changes in the meaning of words. And the changing of in the meaning of word, we learned with the example of Hindustan, how the meaning of Hindustan is changed over the time. And the next word we learned about the foreigner. In the past time, what was the meaning of foreigner and what is the meaning of foreigner in nowadays. And the next point, we learned about some technological changes in that time, in that 1000 years. And today we will start reading from the political power, rise of political power during these 1000 years. We are going to learn the first point today, that there are some political power, emergence of political power during this period also, and some major political powers were Rajputs, Marathas, Sikh, Ahoms and Kayasthas. These are the major political power emerged during the 1000 years, or means from 700 to 1750 AD. And the next major point of today is emergence of jatis. New jatis were also formed at that time. What were the main jatis and how were the jatis regulated? We will read in this subtopic. People were grouped into jatis ranked on basis of their backgrounds and occupation. On their background and occupation, some people grouped and these groups were known as jatis. I think you got this point now. And the next point is how the jatis were regulated, or means what were the major rules jatis have to follow for major adjustment in the society. The first major point is jatis formed their own rule. So the next major question will be in your mind, that who made these rules, sir? These rules were enforced by an assembly of elders and made by them also. They made their own rules, this assembly, and this assembly of elder also enforced these rules. This assembly was known as Jati Panchayat. Now, going to repeat for your better understanding, that there were emergence of many jatis in Indian society on the background of their occupation. And in the lesson you also learned that some jatis have different criteria in the different area. For example, some jatis have major values in Rajasthan and they can be the lower value in Haryana because of their background. Now you learned that jatis formed their own rule for better adjustment. These rules were enforced by an assembly of elders, and this assembly was known as Jati Panchayat. And these jatis also followed the rules of village. It means they followed their separate rules and the rules of villages also. Next point is a rise of new empires. There was a rise of new empires here, means a rise of some political powers. These are some political powers which are emerged in that 1000 years, like Cholas in south area, Tughlaqs and Mughals in the northern part or all over the India. And the next is Delhi Sultanate. And about Delhi Sultanate you will read in third lesson in 7th class. These are some political powers emerged in that 1,000 years. And the next is there was change in religious values also. It means there was religious development also in that 1,000 years. First is growing importance of Brahmins, priests, and patrons, etc. You learned about the keyword patrons, that patrons were the wealthy person. They can be carpenter, priest, Brahman, whatever. Now you got the first point, that Brahman got major importance. And the next is emergence of bhakti. There was emergence of bhakti, means people started devoting their god and goddess, praying their god and goddess. And we will learn about the bhakti chapter in 8th and 9th chapter in the 7th class in this year. And the next is Muslim religion introduced in India by the various travelers from the various countries. Muslim religion introduced. And there are two sets of Muslims, you know that, Shia and Sunni. There are two types of Muslim at that time also and nowadays also. Next is periodization of history. The major point, you will learn this point also in 8th class, but in 7th class also the last major point of lesson is periodization of history. Now the major question is that how do historians divide or periodize the history, and what were the major problem you face while choosing or while reading these periods. First point is British historian divided it means Indian history or history into three periods. First is Hindu, Muslim and British. They divided Indian history into three periods: Hindu, Muslim and British. Now there is a problem in this periodization. There is problem that because they ignored the rich diversity of India. You know that diversity here means there were also some other religion at the same time. You learnt about Jainism and Buddhism in 6th class. There were also many religions at that time. Why they ignored that diversity? And it means only religions were important, not other diversity also important. So that's why there is a problem in this periodization. And the next is historian also divide it on the basis of economic and social factors. Historian also divide the Indian history into by the second method, with the help of second method, economic and social factors. So according to economic and social factors, they divide the Indian history into ancient, medieval and the modern. You learnt about the ancient factor in 6th class, and you are going to read or you will read about medieval sector or medieval history in 7th class and about the modern in the 8th class. So these are the division of Indian history according to economic and social factors. I hope you got all the points of today's video and the previous also. Thanks for watching. I hope the lesson number 1 traces through the changes in 1,000 year is clear to you, because you learned that there were many changes at that time, changes in the meaning of some words and changing in the political and social groups, and there were some problem of resources like manuscripts. You learned that, and after that you also learned that there were changing in the religious development also, and after that you learnt about the division of Indian history by the different historians. I hope you got all the points. If you are new on my YouTube channel, please subscribe the channel, like and share also. Thank you and thanks for watching again.